Welcome to the second video, second day in your 5-part yoga class creation challenge where you're building a go-to yoga class for a specific audience, for the style and the audience that you want to teach. So yesterday, if you didn't see part 1, go back and go watch part 1. That's all about finding a yoga class or yoga teaching topic, not a class topic, but the teaching topic. What do you want to teach? What do you want your title to be? I'm Ashley, I teach yoga for blah, 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 or I teach insert specific style of yoga. So find that first, and then we're gonna get going to brainstorming and giving us a lot of ideas for the class that we're going to create on day 4. So, class we're going to create this is another little brainstorming session. So once you have that topic, and again, you can always change it, we're gonna brainstorm using a little bubble graph. So I chose, for this example, is yoga for hikers. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Washington State, around all the mountains, and I know there's a big audience here that they do a lot of outdoor activities like hiking, and whether it's flat trails or uphill trails or whatever it is, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna do yoga for hikers. There's a lot of people I could ask about, ask questions of their needs, and also I like to hike. So let's get to it. So you can write down yoga teaching topic. And one of my favorite things to do is make a bubble graph. So you can make lists, that's fine too if you're more of a list person, but I like colors, I like making graphs and things. So we're gonna develop and think about things that hikers, not necessarily yogis, but the hiking aspect, what do they need, or what are their pain points? What are they struggling with? And it doesn't have to relate to yoga. So let's just go ahead and write some things down. It's easiest probably to think of the physical things that they need. So what's tight? And maybe I'm just gonna write the muscle group that they most need. Let's go hips, core strength for stability, shoulders, because they tend to round forward, or like you're going forward, and I'm just gonna say shoulders. So I think those would be the main, those are main for a lot of different things, but tight calves is more of a unique one. Tight calves and ankle strength. So with tight calves, I'm gonna put ankle strength here. And then emotional. When you're on a hard hike, you need endurance. So we're gonna write endurance. That's still kind of physical. Oh, another one, blisters. That's a physical one. Blisters and balance. Gosh, there's so much. Balance. I'm thinking of so many things you could do. There's so many different classes you could do in yoga for hikers. Peace and quiet. So maybe they struggle with being in their mind and being quiet when you're doing something that's very long duration of time. So it can be hard to just sit. It's a great practice. It's a great meditative practice to go hiking if you're doing a long hike without music or without anything in your ears. And you might be coming up with things in your head. I'm kind of doing this on the fly here for my ideas. So I could ask people, or what are your biggest hang-ups, or what do you struggle with when you go hiking? And sometimes, I think a lot of times it can be physical, but there's some mental fortitude and strength there. So that's gonna be good enough for now. Okay, beyond that, so we're gonna keep going off these bubbles. What are the poses, maybe not poses, but things you could do to help these? Okay, so now you have the pain points written out, like what happens when you're doing this activity. And now let's talk about the poses and different things you can add to your practice, or themes. Poses, themes, essential oils even you could add. So we're gonna play off of that and add more to it. So with core strength, think of boat pose, plank. Hips, you could do pigeon pose, standing figure 4. Other things you could do is just mobility movement. So let's lunges, warrior poses. So there's some you can do stretching and strengthening, just coming up with a big list. For tight calves and ankles, it's down dog, sitting on your toes, or sitting on your heels with your toes tucked under, or toe stand, let's just say that. So these are just poses now. For blisters, I'm just gonna, I looked this up somewhere in I have this little essential oils book, lavender oils, or just being barefoot, letting it air out. So these are things you could input into your class and say, giving them tips for how to deal with blisters is make sure that you're barefoot, keeping your feet clean. You could use lavender for blisters to help them heal. Balance positions. You can do tree, of course, or mountain pose. So you can add all of these, like we're doing mountain pose, think of yourself out in the mountains, yada, yada, yada. Peace and quiet. That's just, not talking. So leaving room for silence. And maybe it's gratitude, appreciation, thinking of a theme, gratitude. Nature. What kind of meditation could you add? A nature meditation, of thought watching, that kind of stuff. How can you relate this meditation to your hiking? For shoulders, I have one of these over here. Actually, let me go get it. You can actually have people bring in their hiking poles if they have one, or you can use a strap. I'll stretch it long and use this for shoulder mobility. So maybe you want to use unique props like a hiking pole. So you could also use it for balance. So let's say you're doing yoga for hikers and it's like on the trail hiking, a little bit of yoga. How can you use this to keep your balance so that you can do a pose or two? There's a lot we could do with those. This is kind of leave it at that, but keep expanding on your own. Keep expanding and finding all the things that you could do for your class. Boat, plank, pigeon, whatever. And then thinking of like, okay, how can I either create a series or which one do I want to focus on? Because you could create like a 10 class series hitting different areas of your hiker pain points. So looking at which one you want to start with, that'll be in the next video. So just create this huge long list and then we'll create your class name and really hone in on that focus of the class title next video. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 3.